Hey, 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 Mom Nation, and welcome back to the very last episode of 2025 of Mental Wealth with Katie and Laura. Hello, Laura, and welcome to the show.
Hello. Thank you
Hi.
so much. It's so exciting, and I can't believe it's the end of the year.
I cannot believe it's the end of the year, truly. And, I have to thank you because I feel like this whole year, just like the previous one and the one before that, we have delivered so much value, so much help, so much support, so much just seeing and hearing other moms out there. So thank you for being a part of this, or being a major part of this, and for helping us do that because we're making a difference here, girlfriend. I promise.
I love that. That's the goal every time. And I'm so pleased to be able to respond to those posts that we see and like really share our perspective on things. And hopefully, these moms out there are gaining some additional perspective and like feeling like they have some insight and something new to work with and a new tool in their toolbox after listening or watching. And that's really all we want. We want everybody to have more tools so that we can handle this hard thing called momming.
Yeah, it really is. And I feel like as moms, we just don't get enough. Gosh, so many words come to my mind. Like, we don't get enough credit, we don't get enough support. But really, what I think just totally clarifies what I'm trying to say is we don't get seen and heard enough, that we are human beings, that we have needs, that we have some baggage that we probably don't want to pass down to our kids. So hence this show, because this show is just really about focusing on the mom herself as a human, as a woman, as a person in this crazy society we find ourselves in. And
Mhm.
I don't know if I've shared this with you yet. It's kind of a new thing, so maybe not. But come 2026, I'm refreshing the brand for Mom Nation just a little bit to really make it clear that
Oh,
Mom Nation is for moms. Like, yeah, if you want to set up a play date or whatever with another mom, cool. Like, we're all here for that. If you've got a medical question or something you want to run by the moms that pertains to your kiddo, yes, we're here for that. But really, the focus, and that puts this show front and center, is the mom herself. How is
yeah.
she healing? How is she dealing? How is she momming? And how can we help support that?
Oh, I love that because, as moms, we put ourselves, parenting and motherhood is so sacrificial. We do so much for everyone else and we sacrifice our own needs and feelings. And it becomes really difficult to recognize that we deserve support too.
Mm-hmm. Totally agree. And I feel like that is an awesome transition into the very last topic of 2025. And it has to do with, we just had some pretty big holidays that just
Mhm.
passed. And I know it happened in my family, pretty sure it happened in yours. There were some big gatherings happening,
Mhm.
right? And
Yep.
somebody's got to host those gatherings. And I'm here to say, and, please comment, drop all the comments below and let me know what you think about this. But I'm here to say, mom doesn't love doing that. Maybe,
Mm.
wait, let me back up. Maybe there are some moms that truly love hosting big, giant parties, love a bunch of people in their house. Maybe that is the case. And, I wish I could be more like them because I
Yeah.
feel like it's sort of expected of us, right? Like, why wouldn't mom love to have all the family, all the extended family, everybody around? That's what we want, right, Laura? Like, that's what is sort of expected for our role out there. Would
Mhm.
you agree with that?
Yeah, for sure. I think, and even just thinking about myself, like expecting my mom to be the host a lot of
Right.
the time, right? Like, are we meaning, my son will text me who doesn't live with us anymore. He's on his own. He's 19. And he'll text me like, oh, are we having dinner at grandma's? Like when I come in town, or like, are we, so it's always like, we kind of
Everyone.
expect it to be at her house. Like she's the mom who hosts because my house is small now and I don't have a ton of room for everyone because I downsized a couple years ago. And so, after he moved out, like we have fewer space, little bit of space. So it's like, are we meeting at grandma's? What are we going to do? Where are we going to go?
Yeah. let's dive into, and I don't mind sharing a bit about myself. As you guys know, if you've been following the show at all, I never have a problem with that. I'm here to talk about it because I feel, honestly, it helps me to talk about it so I don't feel
Yeah.
so weird. And I feel like it also helps others out there hearing this, probably feeling like, oh, I'm so glad she said that because, I've been wanting to say that, or I'm so glad she said that because it clarified how I've been feeling, and
Hmm.
I couldn't really like clarify that for myself. So that was really helpful. And quite honestly, Laura, like it just drives my nervous system through the roof.
Hmm.
I have such a hard time. It sends me into massive hypervigilance. I'm constantly watching for is spills, crumbs, is there shoes in the house? Is
Hmm.
there, what's going on? Is everybody treating the house well? I happen to
Hmm.
really like my house is my kind of safe space, like my sanctuary. And so it honestly like it hits me at an energetic level when, whether it's true or not, I feel like something is happening to that space that is not what I want to have happen. I don't know if I explained that appropriately, but any
Yeah.
insight on that at all?
No, that makes so much sense. When our home is our place, like we've curated it. We've made it a special place for us to be and a safe place for us to go with our family and like connect and then have solace too, like when we can be alone. Like we create this environment for us that is what we want it to be and what is like special to us. And we want other people to come in and see that and respect that and like recognize that and like know that that is something special and we want them to like it too, and
Mm-hmm.
we want things to go a certain way. Like I know at your house, like no shoes in the house, and
Mm-hmm.
like you were talking about the crumbs and the spills and maybe like I'm imagining fingerprints on your big beautiful windows, like
Oh, yes.
and so it's like, you know part of that I think is like a need to kind of control our environment so that we feel more regulated. Like what we do in our space and our safe place is where our nervous system gets regulated, right? And so
Mm-hmm.
when something in our safe place like becomes dysregulating, it can be really 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 hard to reset, because it's like, there's so much riding on it. There's so much riding on our home being like this special safe place that we tend to have a hard time when it's disrupted. Like I
Mm-hmm.
remember when my kitchen was being redone and I was like, you know, not able to access it, and everything was just like disrupted and in chaos. And if anybody's ever like done any work inside their house, like new floors or paint or whatever, like the disruption is so huge
Mm-hmm.
that it really takes a toll on you, and you get that adrenal fatigue. Like it's like burnt out of your nerve, like your nervous system is just like on fire, and it's like going so hard for so long, and you don't even almost notice it, how much it affects you, until it's over
Mm-hmm.
sometimes. And then you get that like total like release of all the adrenaline, all the cortisol, and then you're exhausted. Like you're just like, I can't even function. I need days to reset. And some of that is, the environment needing to like control the environment so that we can stay centered and regulated. Some of it is also like, I want everyone to like be happy and get along and like know how much I put into this, because like it's really special and important to me. I want people to see how much I care about them by making this place a special place, right? Like I want everyone to see and understand like what this means to me, that they're all here. And so it's like it's people's mood and affect, as well as like the environmental things that need to be okay in order for us to be okay.
Yeah, all of that makes so much sense. And then another thing that I realize about myself, this is a lot of new realizations here, um, is that when I'm in that, I have a harder time tolerating perhaps personalities that are there that I don't maybe mingle with every day. And, maybe there's a reason for that. You know what I'm saying? Um, and so it gives me less of a tolerance level
Mhm.
because with those individuals. And then there is a whole other portion of guilt and expectation that comes with that for me.
Mhm.
And it just makes it really hard for me to keep it all together.
Yeah, for sure. Like when something is, so we all have a window of tolerance, right? Like we have this capacity. Like think of it like a coffee cup. One of my EMDR trainers like talked about it like a coffee cup versus like an espresso cup versus like a 40 ounce like a Polar Pop or something, right? Like you know, we all have a capacity. And what happens is like we fill it up a little bit with the stress of hosting because it's at our house and we want our house to be clean and perfect and like we want everyone to feel good and safe and comfortable there. And then we fill it up a little bit more with all the people that are coming in. Like I want them to know how special I think they are. I want them to all get along with each other. I want them to all have a good time. And then we fill it up a little bit more with I want them to feel like they are happy with me. I want them to like me. I want them to enjoy my company. I want them to feel like I'm somebody important in their lives. And then we fill it up a little bit more, right? So like we're using our capacity and then we only have, a tiny bit left of capacity to actually like interact with people because all that's happening on the inside.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like none of that is reacting to like what's going on and interacting with people and socializing. And so we fill up our capacity with all the stress and extra stuff in our heads and in our bodies that we just lose like our window of tolerance is kind of taken up a little bit and we don't have as much available to give to the people that we want to give it to. And then we can't be as present. And so I noticed that when we're hosting and we have all this anxiety and we have all this pressure and expectations and there's so much riding on it, we end up not being as present for the people that we love. And then we don't remember the event as well.
Mm-hmm.
So we're like missing out on memories. We don't, stop and take pictures. We don't stop and like savor the moment. We don't just like sit and relax and breathe with the people that we care about. And so because we're so much in the future or in the past, like I did this wrong, I did this wrong. So we're either future tripping, like what's going to happen after this, or like what's going to happen next, or what are they going to say, or who's going to be here, or when are they going to arrive? What's the next agenda item on the list? Like, is everybody having fun? Or we're in the past kind of ruminating by like, oh, I forgot to put this dip out, or, I didn't get those balloons on the front door that I wanted to, or I didn't do this decoration, or that light bulb didn't get changed in time. All those things that we wanted to get done before and then didn't get done, kind of like taking up space. And when we're in the past or in the future, we're not in the present. So we can't learn, we can't encode like the memories that we want to have. We can't like socialize and connect as well as we want to. And so we end up feeling like we worked it. We didn't enjoy it.
100%. And that's, and again, full disclaimer, like that's not to say I don't like it when people come over my house. So all y'all that have come over, like I'm not, this isn't your sign to never come over to my house again. I do better in the smaller, gatherings because it's just less for me to monitor. I don't feel so guilty that my cup filled up too quickly when it's smaller because it doesn't fill up as quickly. And so I have more tolerance for, Aunt Judy, who always says something rude. You know what I mean? Like everybody's got one of those. And again, just as you said, I feel more like I enjoyed it, less like I was just contracted to work this party that happens to be, that I happen to know where everything exists inside the cabinets, and sometimes it can feel for me, it doesn't have that same personal connection. It doesn't have that same personal value to me. And like you
Yeah.
said, the memories aren't there.
Mm-hmm.
Becomes a blur.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because when we're hypervigilant, we're in our survival center of our brain. So our brain's primary focus is to get through it. It's not to like experience it, right? We actually kick out the part of our brain that says to experience this because we don't want to. We're in danger, right? So like our system thinks we're in danger. So it puts on our survival mechanisms and our armor. And then what happens, we have our survival system online. That means our social engagement system is offline. When our social engagement system is online, our survival system is offline because we can be vulnerable, we can be safe with other people, we can be connected to other people. Like when we're in a safe relationship, then we can have vulnerability without fear. And that is where the social connection lives. That's where like the real learning, love, reciprocation, experience of joy and connection. That's where we can feel the most appreciated. And that's when we can feel the most loved, which is one of the reasons why like we often don't feel appreciated for all the things that we do, because we're in a position where we're vulnerable, but we're afraid. And so with the vulnerability with fear, we're kind of kicking out that social connection. And so even if people are like, thank you, I love this, this is so great, all we can think about is this isn't great, like this is going to go wrong, they, you know, I don't know what's going on. Like we're not in a position to accept the connection that we're getting in that moment.
So that brings me to the big giant question. And I'm going to tangent here really quick because I was going to ask you, why am I like this, Laura? And then it made me think of your other podcast. And I want to give you, your other podcast, Why Am I Like This? So I just wanted to give you a quick moment to plug that real quick, since it just popped in my head because I was going to ask you that question.
Yeah, I was thinking about that too. Like, so on Why Am I Like This, we dig into some of the reasons why we are the way we are in adulthood. And often it traces back to experiences that we had, mostly learning experiences in childhood. And on Why Am I Like This, we kind of pick a topic similar to what we do here, and we just really do a deep dive on that topic. We often bring in like books and research that we've done to really better understand it and kind of go through, you know, really how did we get here and like what can we do to shift if we need to shift.
I love that, and thank you for adding that value as well, because I'm sure that that's very helpful to your audience out there. So I wanted to give you a quick second to plug that, because
thank you
again,
so much.
You're very welcome. It made me think of it, but let's dive into Why Am I Like This? So I would love your perspective. I did some thinking and, a little bit of Googling for a few days and realized that for me, and again, there's probably some other factors involved because life isn't just about one incident. But for me, growing up, I was the oldest of one side of my family of all the cousins. And so I was the one who knew better. I was the default babysitter when there was a large gathering at our house or at my grandmother's house, right? I got in trouble for no matter, even if I wasn't even in the room when one of the other kids did something, because I was the default babysitter. I knew better. I should have been paying attention. It was all my fault all the time. And I'm like, ding, ding, ding. How's that for anxiety right there?
Yeah. Yeah. So as you're telling me this, I'm thinking, okay, what lessons did you learn about yourself and others in that moment, right? Or in those experiences? Like, what lessons did you learn? You learned that you can control other people's behavior. You learned that you have to control other people's behavior, or something bad will happen to you, like, or you will look bad. You learned that, everybody else's experience is your responsibility. And, you learned that you would get in trouble if something went wrong, like in general, right? So like all those lessons come into today. How are you going to use that information? Your brain is going to say, oh, I know how to handle this. because I've done this before. And so
Mm-hmm.
these are all the things I have to do. I have to control everything. I have to make everybody happy. I have to make sure nothing goes wrong. I have to make sure there's no mess or no spills to clean up later, or something's going to be bad. I'm going to get in trouble. So
Mm-hmm.
like, we're not logically making that connection in the moment, right? We're not like, we're really just operating on an internal sense of automatic pilot where we're like, okay, I'm familiar with this experience. Here's the plug and play program that I can use to get through this experience. And you're not able to be intentional and present and mindful about what's happening and really experience the moment because you're just on this program.
Mm-hmm. And that's what it feels like.
Mm-hmm.
So I did a thing. So I got myself, I love puzzles, like love
Me
puzzles.
too.
I don't have time to do them. So that's why I don't talk about it very much, but I love puzzles. And so I went to Goodwill and I hooked myself up with a couple of unopened boxes of puzzles, mind you. I was so stoked. So I got like two of them for like $3 a piece. It was awesome. And it helped me sort of regulate a bit by kind of giving me something to focus on other
Mm-hmm.
than focusing on what was going on in the house. But I still found myself mentally scanning everything. Okay,
Mm.
what's going on outside? Okay, can I hear everyone in the kitchen? Okay, where are the kids? Okay, what's my dad doing? Is he okay? Is he happy? Does he have everything he needs? Because of course, I have both my parents over as well, and I take care of dad and just make sure that he's comfortable and that kind of thing. So it's very important to me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I was still, even though I was like, okay, I'm gonna focus on this puzzle. My sister was here, which is great. I never get to see her because she's, from out of town. So her and I sat and puzzled together, and several other family members kind of came in and out.
Yeah.
So I didn't really know exactly what I was doing when I hooked myself up with puzzles. I was like, oh, this might be cool. But then I was so grateful that I had done that
Mm-hmm.
because it at least gave me something rather than just walk around the house and physically monitor. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
At least it gave me something to sort of focus on and try to get my mind off of what else was going on in the rest of the
Mm-hmm.
house. So I don't know if I like stumbled on something there or, but anyway, that ended up working for me. So that might not be the only scenario that somebody dealt with growing up that might put
Mm-hmm.
them in these shoes that I'm in. What can you think of any other examples maybe that somebody could have gone through, or maybe what they might have learned in their childhood that would cause this for them as well?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like, so if a kid is put in a position to be responsible for others, like that kind of teaches them that lesson, right? Like you were. And
Mm-hmm.
then I also think if, a family is really like secretive and protective of like their image and like makes them like where it's like what people think is the most important thing, like how making sure we're impressing people, like that can put a lot of pressure on someone as like a host to like make sure everything looks perfect, like no dust or no spills or no stains, no cracks, like they might feel like they have to be perfect
Mm-hmm.
and they have to like show up as perfect, and like what other people think about them is going to be like a really big deal and a really big problem if anybody is judging or thinking that they're not okay. So like that's another one that I think of. Also, I would imagine that a child who grew up in an environment where there was like a lot of like holiday chaos, like for example, if you grew up in a home with a alcoholic or addicted parent, and then maybe the holidays were like especially stressful, or maybe parents who don't get along and like the holidays are especially stressful and they fight a lot more, or there's like potential abuse going on like in the house or in the family, and then when you have a gathering, like those things can feel really dangerous. Like I would imagine that would probably increase the likelihood of being an anxious host, like as an adult, because when you have people around, something can go wrong. Like people might fight, or people might get, intoxicated. People might get hurt. Like that chaos can kind of like create a sense of fear later on. So those are just a couple that have come to mind for me. And then another one is like a little bit more serious. Like, for example, if you were abused by a member of the extended family, right? And like every time they had gatherings, like you would be taken to another room and like harmed by that person. Like I'm thinking about, like an uncle or an aunt or, something like that. That would make it so that when hosting family would be really, really nerve-wracking and really, really unpleasant, because you might be hypervigilant about where are all the kids, where are all the adults, is anybody hurting anyone, is anything going on, like that. So those are some of the things that come to mind for me as to like, why are we like this now?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So let's talk about boundaries, our favorite thing to talk about, Laura.
I love boundaries.
Don't we? I'm going to go out on a limb and say that choosing not to host is a boundary, like not a flaw, not a wrongdoing, not something to be ashamed of. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, for sure. We need to know our limits. We need to say like, okay, this many people can come, but we can't invite this many, like these other people can't come. Like we can't invite, we can only invite our immediate family and not our extended family unless we have this, gathering somewhere else. Maybe we have a time limit. Maybe it's like, we set an end time. Like we're going to be together from like 5 to 8 p.m. And then at 8, everybody has to go home. We might set a limit of like, I'm only going to host one day instead of like 3 different gatherings or something. And we might say like, I can't host this year. Like, it's just, I have too much on my plate. Like, it's not going to work for me. I heard someone say recently, and I can't credit them. I wish that I could remember who it was, but someone said they used the phrase like, that doesn't work for me right now.
Fair enough.
Yeah, that doesn't work for me right now.
And then stop right there, right? Like you don't need to get into the story as to why it doesn't work. Like that's not a necessary part. Yeah.
Yeah, that doesn't work for me right now. Like keep me in mind in the future, right? Like I'm maybe available a different day, but like right now this isn't working. This doesn't work for me. And that's okay. And we can set that boundary.
And I feel like we need to be okay with saying that, because that can be a struggle too, saying no for moms. I've noticed that that's a big struggle.
It is. I mean, we don't want to disappoint anyone. We don't want anyone to feel like we're a party pooper. We don't want anyone to feel like we're not, open to being able to be supportive to everyone, and that we're not going to be there for everyone. We put ourselves last in those ways. And when we're setting a boundary, and I love how you said, stop there, don't over explain it. Because what we're doing when we're over explaining is we're trying to regulate our own guilt, or like trying to regulate our own nervous system by like convincing someone else to like understand where we're coming from. And the reality is they don't have to understand. They don't have to agree with you. They don't have to like it. Often when we set a boundary, people are upset by that and they don't like it. And they're, feeling put out, or they're feeling offended, or they're feeling however they're feeling. And that's okay. It's okay for someone to be upset with you. I think that's a lesson that we need to learn. Like, it's okay for someone to be upset with you. And
I agree.
And we need to talk ourselves through that. We need to say, I am okay, even if this person is upset. Our relationship is strong enough to get through it. I think about our relationship is not fragile. We are strong enough to get through this moment, even though this person is upset about a thing that I'm choosing, and I'm choosing it for my own health and safety. And my own health and safety is important. And I deserve to make a choice that's based on me.
I think as moms, it's so easy for us to say, but we still have such a hard time with that.
Guilty, me. I mean, I
Right.
say yes to things that I shouldn't say yes to all the time. I'm like, yeah, I can take that on. Yeah, I can do this. Yeah, I can do that. And one of the things that I was talking about in my own therapy recently was like, I need to know when it's okay to expect support and expect help from other people.
Mm.
And so one of the things about hosting is like, maybe you get a co-host, maybe you
Mm.
delegate some of the responsibility, maybe you make sure that like everybody else is bringing like the food, the supplies, the games, the agenda, the whatever, and somebody else does some of that planning and preparation for you, so that you don't have to have it all by yourself. And people like to be like putting ourselves in the guest's mindset and point of view can be really helpful here, because as a guest, like I want to participate, I want to be a part of it, I want to like bring something to the table of value, and I want to make sure that my contribution is needed and is helpful and is supportive. And so like most people want to be supportive,
Mm-hmm.
most people want to be helpful. So when we ask someone for help, those people often appreciate us for asking, and they really are glad to be a part of our lives and a part of our journey.
I totally agree with that. I just think of my mom,
Mm-hmm.
and she loves it when I ask. And I always kind of feel like, oh, geez, I'm asking her for help with something yet again. But I
Right.
swear she loves it. She's like, oh yeah, I'm in.
Mm-hmm.
I'm here for this.
Mm-hmm.
Um, what about, and this is something that I've done a little bit, what about just having some house rules and
Mm-hmm.
having that as a boundary? Like, hey, we can all go to my house, sure, but like, when you come over my house, I don't like shoes in the house.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody, except for like maybe one family member, has ever given me any pushback about that. They're just
Yeah.
like, oh, okay, fine. Where do we put them when we
Right.
take them off? You know what I mean? But what about setting some soft boundaries, like not, craziness,
Mm-hmm.
but what about that?
Yeah. I love that idea. Right. Like no food in the living room.
Yeah, no
Um,
wine on the white couch kind of thing,
right. Right.
you
That's what I
know?
was thinking. Like, no, maybe no feet on the couch. Maybe, kids can't go in these rooms, maybe keep certain doors closed, no shoes in the house, maybe no drinking, we don't drink alcohol in this house,
Mhm.
that kind of thing. There's
Mhm.
lots of boundaries that we can set that are house rules, and people will mostly respect those. And if they don't, like that's a them thing, not a you thing.
Mhm. Yeah, totally agree. Lastly, what about healing? I
Mm,
personally don't think that healing is necessarily pushing through the discomfort and forcing yourself to host, right? Like that's not healing.
no.
What's healing look like?
I think healing looks like first realization, right? We have to accept and acknowledge like what's going on. We have to have the realization that this is coming from something old. Like this
Mm-hmm.
is old stuff. I have new tools. So when I have new tools, that means I have new boundaries, new tools that I can use. I have new communication tactics. I have more autonomy and more freedom and more rights as an adult than I did when I was a kid. Because if you think about the lessons that you learned as a kid, you learned those lessons at a time in your life when you didn't have any rights.
Mm.
You didn't have any autonomy. You didn't have freedom.
Control, yeah.
You didn't have control. You were completely dependent in that moment. So you learned lessons that were true then, right? Like you're
Mm-hmm.
not imagining things. It's not like, oh, that's just in your head. No, like those were real things that you learned out of real truths. However, today, that stuff isn't true anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Those things aren't true because this is my house now. I own this house, or I rent this house. I pay for this house, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I am the one who gets to choose how I'm treated now. I can choose who I invite. I can choose who I let into my space. I can choose how my space is treated. I can choose what kind of drinks and food we serve here. Like I have choices, I have control, I have autonomy, I have power, I have independence, I have respect, I have rights. I have all these things that I didn't have before. So those are just like basic things. Now I have, those are like the new rules. Now I have new tools. So the new tools that I have are my ability to communicate effectively, my ability to ask for help, my ability to set boundaries, my ability to make a list of things and house rules and write them on a whiteboard or whatever, right? Like my ability to regulate my own nervous system by choosing activities that I enjoy, like a puzzle. My ability to take a break, to go into another room and kind of take a breather for a few minutes and gather myself before I go back out and socialize some more. My ability to set limits on what I choose to say yes to, right? So those are all my new tools in my toolbox, and I have new rules and truths that I operate from. That's really what healing looks like.
I love that. And I also feel like to minimize maybe the anxiety that you might feel when somebody comes over, something that I have done is when I invite them is I say, hey, you know, we're a shoe-free household, so bring a pair of slippers. And I'm kind of just like putting it out there in sort of a cute way, you know, up front. So that way I don't get overly anxious about them coming through the door and me having to ask that, because that can feel awkward, right? And then just totally not doing it, which just makes it worse for me later because now I'm freaking out, you know what I mean? So I don't know if that is, it works for me anyway to kind of put that out there.
Yeah, you're taking preparation steps, right? Like you're preparing your environment to, you're preparing other people to make your environment a comfortable place and to accept and acknowledge your rules and expectations. And I think that's important, right? Like if we, like on the invite, put an end time, list what time it's over. On the invite, like let people know, bring your own this, let people know this is a alcohol-free zone, let people know this is a kid-free zone, let people know there will be kids there, right? Like it's when you prepare people to know what to expect, then they are more able to come in with their window of tolerance. Because like who gets anxious when they're a guest? I do.
Yeah. Right.
I like to be prepared. I like to know what to expect. Like, so putting yourself in that guest viewpoint again is really helpful here too, because like, oh, thank you for letting me know. So that, because I'm weird about my feet and I want to make sure I have socks on. I'm weird, you know, who knows? Like, I usually bring somebody a bottle of wine as a gift. Now I know I'm not going to do that. That makes me feel better. It's helpful. That's smart. Like we prepare ourselves and our guests for an optimal, enjoyable time.
Agreed. I love that. And you don't have to be like super militant about it and have all of these crazy requests. Just help people feel comfortable and feel clear and understand the rules and the expectations of the house. And in turn, that's going to help you too if you're like me. So I love this talk. Absolutely. And I know that there are still some gatherings to be had. Holidays are not over yet, guys. So I love this talk. I love your input. Your insight is always so valuable. So thank you. Is there anything else about hosting gatherings and being real honest with yourself, if it's not something you love, that you'd like to add?
Yeah, I think so. When I was kind of researching for this topic too, I read a tip in an article that I thought was really good, which is like, let yourself laugh it off. You know, like when you are putting yourself in a position to be vulnerable, when you're putting yourself in a position to potentially be out of your comfort zone, when you recognize that like these things are going to be difficult for you, if you choose to do it anyway, because you can tolerate it, because it's okay for you, and because it's still safe, don't like bulldoze over yourself. But like, if you are still in a place where you're like, yes, I can handle this, I have the tools, I can do it, And then let yourself like laugh it off when something doesn't go well, or when something is like a little bit unexpected happening, because when you laugh, you're letting that guard down. You're telling your nervous system like, oh, this is not a big deal. This is difficult, but it's not dangerous. This is something that I can get through. This is something that I can be okay with. And then, when it's really not something that's okay for you, don't bulldoze over yourself. Invite that anxiety. I often invite my anxiety to like sit next to me. Like I'll say like, okay, hey, anxiety, can you just like sit here for a minute? Because I'm really feeling overwhelmed by you. And when I can see you separate from me, I can see you, not be you. Got that from a really good book that I read by Dr. Dick Schwartz. So I can actually credit that one.
Love that.
Yeah. So those are some things that I think are helpful.
Love that. Thank you again for that share. And again, I just want mama out there that feels like me, if this really like hits home, please, you're not alone. I hope this makes you feel seen and heard, because I know just how valuable and helpful that can be. You are not the only one. Maybe we're the only two. I don't know. I doubt it though.
I doubt it too.
All right, guys, if you haven't seen it yet, above our heads, there is a QR code that is new, but it doesn't go to a new thing. So that actually links directly to our YouTube playlist. So over on our YouTube channel, if you want to check out any of our previous episodes, we would love it if you would hit the subscribe, the little bell, I think it is on YouTube. That really tells us that you're finding value here. This is not something that we charge for or have ever charged for. So you are consuming this for free. We hope that it has value, and that is the way that you can tell us that it does, is by hitting that subscribe button. Also, you can click here, scan this QR code, and it will bring you all the way exactly to our playlist, which is also a podcast on YouTube, and that is our mental wealth playlist. If you prefer to listen podcast style on your favorite podcast platform, do a quick search for Mom Nation Talk Radio. There you will find us. Again, locate the Mental Wealth Podcast there, and that will be just me and Laura, and only me and Laura. And you can binge it. It's like, forget Netflix, guys. You've got like 3 years worth of very valuable topics, very valuable episodes to binge on over there. So maybe you're staying in for New Year's. I know I am. I'm not going to be out there, out and about. So very, very binge worthy if you need something to do. All right, guys, wishing you all a very, very happy New Year. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Feeling overwhelmed or stuck in patterns you don't understand? Meet Laura Olivieri Wood, licensed counselor, board-approved clinical supervisor, and founder of Benevieri. Benevieri offers specialized care using a proven model that bridges generational gaps with plans tailored just for you. Laura Wood offers a free mini course where you'll discover how your brain processes life and learn 3 simple ways to reset when it all feels like too much. Your past doesn't define you. Let's unlock the future together. Connect with Laura Wood today.